we go. I am back again. One more time. Hit the mute button on there. Um, okay.
Got it.
This is George Teague, and this is a very special episode of Teague's Take. All day we've been at TAPPSCON23 in Waco, Texas, and man, are we having a great time, right? I'm getting to talk to coaches, I'm getting to talk to vendors, talking football. I had someone talk about Alabama football just a little bit ago, so you know I'm having a great day. And guess what? We're going to be talking about here. First of all, we're going to be talking to some schools about how they can help themselves when they're doing. I don't want to try to sell all this kind of stuff, but it's a great company. Our title sponsor, Government Capital Corporation, who is TAP's title sponsor for our event. First of all, I want to say thank you to them just for making this happen so that we can be here. Our coaches, athletic directors. We had a fine arts portion yesterday where we can come and learn, network, and meet really, really cool people. Okay. So I'm very excited about that. But this is an opportunity for me to talk about a little bit of Dallas Cowboy stuff here because y'all know how I am, man. You look at my little banner down here, got Alabama on one side, the star on the other side. And when I was introduced to the stakeholders with this company, Zach, who you see on the screen, Zach Saldi, happened to say that he was a big Cowboy fan, and he actually was at the game. I gotta ask him again. Maybe I've heard this wrong. He was at the game when I hit Terrell Owens.
So I'm muted here.
No. Leave that alone. You're good. You're good.
I'm live?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, like a Super Bowl kickoff. All right.
Yeah.
When I heard George Teague was here, I was like, you're lying. I didn't know how common Teague was. There may be a lot of Teague last names. And I'm like, the George Teague? I go, last time I saw him, man, I was at that game in the 90s where it was the loudest I've ever heard the old Cowboy Stadium, where Terrell Owens caught a touchdown. He was playing for the Niners at the time. He went and disrespected the star, got on there. And some people didn't like it too much. And a guy named Emmitt Smith, I'm sure you remember him.
I've met him a couple times.
So that next drive, I think it was the next drive or maybe the following one, he scores a touchdown and he runs out to that star and slams that football down. And then that was the loudest I've ever heard that stadium. And it gave me goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking of it. And so after that, Terrell Owens, that was back when he was he's always been an athlete, but in those Niner days, you watch some of his highlights, man, that guy was a freak.
Oh, yes.
And so he went down and scored again, and then he went and disrespected the star again. And then if you're watching on TV, you probably couldn't see it as well as I could because I saw when George Teague started running from the end zone, and it looked like he ran about 5-10 miles. That's how long it took. I was like, this guy, no, he's running after T. Oh my gosh. And then bam. And, man, the crowd went nuts. That was crazy. I mean, Darren Woodson was always my favorite safety. I played safety in high school, and I always try to emulate my game after, Darren Woodson, Ed Reed, and Brian Dawkins and stuff like that. But after you did that, I put you in the mix too. So I appreciate being on your podcast.
I see you trying to be nice to me. I appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about yourself, though. Where are you at? Where are you living personally before we get into Government Capital Corporation?
Okay, so yeah. I went to South Lake Carroll in high school. We graduated in 2003. It was the first year before South Lake went on a run and won all the state titles. So I played with Chase Daniel and Scott Chandler and Chase Wasson that seems like a long time ago, but we were pretty good then. Coach Dodge kind of was ahead of his time. He learned he was going to Mike Leach camps in the summers before he came coach for us. So we kind of brought that spread offense into high school football, and we were beating teams that we had no business beating, like Lufkin and Dunbar. All these teams that their second teamers were way more athletic than us, but nobody was really running that no huddle spread offense. And so I went to South Lake, graduated from there, and then I went and tried to played ball at West Texas A&M for a year.
Okay, and
then I didn't really like it out there. And so I transferred to Texas State University in San Marcos, and I got my degree there. And then I came back here, and I just hit my 10-year anniversary working for Government Capital. And this is our third year here being the title sponsor at TAPPS. And so what we do here is we try to educate all the private school members on how to go get a loan in the most efficient way possible. and how to utilize certain borrowing structures that are available to them. And the reason kind of why we're here is not a lot of these private parochial schools are aware of, I could bore you to death with Section 145 of the IRS code, which allows a 501c3, meaning a private or parochial school, can get a tax exempt loan on a federal basis when they go borrow their money versus just going to a traditional bank and getting a bank loan at a taxable rate. But at the end of the day, you're saving about anywhere from 21 to 35% off your interest costs you pay every year on your loan. So we're happy to educate the schools on how to go about doing it. And it's been fun. I'm glad it's in Waco now. It used to be in San Antonio, and that commute down there, that drive to
You
San
don't like
Antonio.
San Antonio?
I love San
is nice.
Antonio. I'm not like Charles Barkley talking bad about San Antonio
Well,
and stuff like that.
You don't want to do that. But it was funny because you said something about Section 145 of the tax code. I actually got my book right here
right.
with all the sections. I'm just kidding. I don't have
You're not a numbers guy?
No. I don't have that on me. But, so I mentioned about John Paul II High School, of how I've actually at least introduced our school to it because of I don't know, something we may need to do, or maybe we're taking loans or whatnot. But there's a lot of capital campaign stuff that we want to do. I'm not necessarily involved in that, but I wanted to give it to our CFO, our president, and things of that nature. So we at least have the options to do if there's something better than just going to XYZ Bank or whatever. I thought it was definitely something that we should be looking at for that. So that there's probably a lot of advantages that many of us probably not know.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a big demand for not knowing it. Surprisingly, any school in this space that has maybe 700 students or more are already doing this program. They know about the Section 145 code. They know how to go get a tax exempt loan. They know the benefits of it, and it's. I don't know if some of the smaller mid-sized schools didn't get the memo, but that's what we're here to do. And it's a good experience, and I love helping educate people on how to, efficiently go get a loan. And it may be boring. It's not as boring as an insurance seminar, but I'm going to these certain panels on how to improve your 40 time, or how to get stronger, or here's this scoreboard. That might be a lot more fun than listening to me bore you to death about how to go get financing. And so, but it may help you be able to afford some of the cool stuff that you see around here.
So what is it that, I know it's not all cookie cutter. Okay. So I'm not trying to make it like that, but if there is a simple kind of way that you say, okay, the process is kind of going to look like this. We're going to come to the school, then we're going to look at I'm making this up because I really have no idea. What does the normal system look like?
Okay. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to take a partnership, long-term approach with you. We're not just going to, close one loan and then see you later. We like to partner with y'all. We go through your financials, we go through your enrollment, what your capital campaign goals are, and we like to structure the transactions or financings to match your specific goals of your school. So it can be complex, but our job is to make it as user-friendly and easy as possible for y'all. And because we want y'all teaching, kids, we want, this is our future here. So we want to try to lessen the burden, and we have a good infrastructure here at Government Capital. And it's been fun. I'm an ex-jock that's good at math, so I think this is a good spot for me. And so
what was your favorite math? I know you say you like math.
I hated geometry. I'll tell you that. I hated geometry. I was really good at algebra, calculus. When I went to college, it took me a little bit. Once I got the hang of it, to be honest, I like the Rubik's Cube, if that's some form of math.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But
is that considered math or stats or
algorithms?
What
I don't know. But
okay. Well, all right. So I want to jump back into your football days for a minute because you said so when you went to, what position were you playing at West Texas A&M?
Safety.
State. So you played everyone that even when you went to Texas State, you stayed at safety?
Yeah. So I was growing up in Pee Wee, I was a running back and middle linebacker, but I was a late bloomer. And so when kids started getting beards and stuff like that, I got moved to the smallest position on the field, which was a corner. And I didn't go to my true position until, I hit my growth spurt and stuff in my junior year. And I like safety because you got to be able to cover. You get the hit.
Were you a hitter or were you a cover guy? Or were you good
I was kind of a reckless hitter sometimes, so I would miss tackles, and my coach would ream me and stuff like that. And my dad played for the Cowboys in '70s and '80s, so he would be that dad that'd be at every practice and wearing his Super Bowl ring and all this stuff. And he would get on to me harder than the coaches were. It was kind of annoying, but looking back, that was kind of good. So
can you tell us a little bit about your pops?
Yeah.
Cowboys in the blood, man. What's going on?
Yeah, Cowboys in the blood. And so, I used to actually run and go get the tee off when they had the tees
Oh,
on
you
the football.
sprinting out
Yeah,
there?
I was that little kid.
Did you
Your
ever
games.
fall? How many times did you
No,
trip?
and the funny thing is they used to have tryouts for that. And so I got grandfathered in because of my pops, but it was, and I was a fast little, I was a burner. And so I used to love that. My jersey was way too big. And I just assumed the Cowboys were going to keep winning every year because I was going during the 90s. The Super Bowl was just the norm. But man, it's been a long time since we won. But my dad played. He went to South Carolina. He calls that the real UNC.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And
Well,
so
tell us his name.
Jay Saldi, tight end, number 87, Dallas Cowboys, 76 through 83, 83 through 85 with the Bears. And so he, his best friends were, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Too Tall Jones, and Newhouse were his best friends. When Newhouse passed, and kind of this whole process of when he got unhealthy was, I haven't seen my dad tear up. I saw him tear up when his dad, and because my grandfather died, I think within the same month that Tom Landry passed. And so my dad teared up then, and then also my dad teared up a couple times during that whole Newhouse when he passed. Because Newhouse's daughters used to babysit me and my two brothers, so we were him and Too Tall were my dad's good friends. And
Too Tall.
Oh yeah, and it's been fun. I've been kind of spoiled to be or blessed to be around the Cowboy family and stuff like that. And so, and actually my brother, so I got skipped. I'm only 6 foot. My older brother, my dad's 6'4". My older brother's 6'5". My little brother's 6'3", and I'm 6 foot. So, but anyways, not that I'm bitter, but I was the fastest.
I don't know you well enough to make jokes about you yet, so I'm just going to
I was the fastest, though, I'll tell you that. And I ran the 100. That was actually, I was better at the 100 in track than I was football. But anyways, my brother, he was a 4-year starter at Tech, and he was on the practice squad for the Cowboys for 3 years, and they sent him to Cologne, Germany, back when NFL Europe was going on. And I was in college when my brother was actually playing, and that's back when the Cowboys had the training camps down in San Antonio. And
look at this, man!
Wow,
that's right there,
some Starbucks.
Man. I think somebody trying to get on the podcast, man. They're making me drinks and stuff.
But when I was in San Marcos going to college, and they would have the training camp, and my brother was trying to make the team, and so I would drive. It was like a 30-minute drive. I'd go there as much as I can, and I'd get to hang out with Romo, T.O., Roy Williams.
Why'd you have to throw in T.O.? I mean, we were doing good, man. Why you had to bring? Why are you just?
I forgot.
You trying to rub something in?
I know.
I gotta hang out with
I thought you'd be over it by now.
I am over it. Well, he isn't. But anyway,
I'll tell you one thing: the largest person I've ever seen in my life, and the biggest hand I've ever shaken in my life, is this guy. He was a left tackle, Leonard Davis. Oh, yeah. And I shook his hand, and I felt like I was shaking the hand of Andre the Giant. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But anyways, it's been fun, and I just it's been a long time since we won, but I actually think this year we're going to be better than we were last year. And I think with the NFC being wide open with Rodgers out of the mix, I think this is a good spot for us going to run. And trust me, I've learned not to put all my emotional eggs into Jerry Jones' basket, because if you've done that, you've been heartbroken, over the past couple decades. But I think this year, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I think maybe the Niners, I think we can beat the Eagles, but I think we're in a good spot this year. Man,
he might have a second career, so you're going to have to start moonlighting with me a little bit as we talk about this. But I want to let's get back into the government capital again. So you say you've been there for 10 years. What do we call you? What is your title? there?
I'm a financial advisor for Government Capital, and so I've worked strictly just with 501c3s, and over the past few years, we've been focusing a lot on these private parochial schools and marketing our services because we like to be a one-stop shop to getting a loan. And when we so when we partner with a school, we take a long, like I mentioned before, a long-term approach, and we um, want to get you the most competitive and efficient loan as possible, and make sure that y'all are your capital campaign's going okay. If you have any questions on that, or we don't want you to get in over your skis, or
Yeah.
we can
What are
advise
the
you.
other things that people really hit you up for? I know I'm saying capital campaigns, but what do people
It's
typically,
man,
or what can they come? Are they, is it, hey, I want to start a school, I want to get a new roof, I want to get a, I don't know.
Yeah,
What
it's
is,
it's definitely based on need. So a lot of schools, it can be tons of different scenarios, but some schools could be capped as far as their how many students they. Like I'm working with right now with New Braunfels Christian School in New Braunfels, and right now they have about 680 something students. Well, their capacity is at 705, and so they're about to be capped. And so that's a problem because they have a waiting list of students, but they can't put them anywhere. And so what we're doing right now, we're doing it's a phenomenal project. I've looked at the engineering and the contractor building scopes of work and stuff like that. And it's going to be a phenomenal new facility. We're doing a new athletic complex, and um, because they're not going to be able to grow their school because they're capped.
yeah.
And that's just one scenario, but a lot of them just need, whether they want to do a refinancing and try to save money by converting their taxable loans to a tax exempt loans, or whether they need renovations for campuses, or any type of equipment as well. We can do equipment. So we like to be the one-stop shop to get a loan for y'all.
Are there any conflicts with because I don't know, not trying to
Yeah.
start anything, but say someone has a relationship with the bank, right? We all put our money somewhere, and I'm going to assume most schools probably go to that bank wherever they're doing their payroll and all the other stuff and try to get their loans and stuff. How is there a way that you work through that or around that if those people get
Yeah.
mad because
That's a great question. I'm
Mhm.
surprised you asked. That's really great because we will work with your depository bank or local bank if you want, but we work with dozens of banks that buy or fund these loans all the time, and they are hungry for them. They have a big appetite, and a lot of times the local banks, and I love to keep things local, but you know you'll the school knows that when we engage with them, we have a consultant agreement that irons out what our job duties are. We'll list if there's any conflicts of interest. We'll have our fees in there. We have to do that for compliance on our end, but we also do it for transparency for the customers. And so our job is to get the school the best, most competitive deal we can get. And our we don't have to report to our shareholders like a lender would if they're working directly with you. They're going to try to get, and I'm not trying to bash any depository banks or lenders because they are providing loans and helping out their schools. But at the end of the day, they have to put their shareholders first. And with us, we have to put our client first. And it's in writing that we give to you and sign. So.
okay, well that's excellent. Appreciate you sharing that. And I got a little bit of brains on me too. I try to figure this stuff out because I mean, but we're always doing it, right? We're always trying to figure out how to get the better field, get the turf, get the something. If you don't have a donor that's just going to buy it for you, you may have to go take out the money somewhere or get a loan and raise for it later. Or I don't know. That a lot of the schools are in different positions, and I've been at 4 different schools, all different sizes, and we all had different needs with the money, and we all were always trying to get something. We were trying to figure out ways to do it. So everyone should be at least taking and listen to this because it sounds like sounds like you got a niche in schools, but it might sound like it might be something else that businesses could use as well. So how do people find you then? How do we find
Uh,
Government Capital Corporation?
You
Where
go
do we
to
go?
govcap.com, and our actually specific website for private and parochial schools is govcap.com/private schools.
Okay.
So you can just, whether you want to Google govcap.com or type govcap.com, we're not part of the government. People call our phone all the time. Are you the government? We're like, no, we're government capital. So we trademarked that name. So our owner is always worried that some hacker is going to think we're the government and try
to
to
get in. Yeah, you probably gotta have a pretty good security system anyway. But
yeah,
you probably could sell the domain to the government probably for a big chunk of change.
money talks, right? We just saw that with the Live Golf and PGA Tour stuff, right?
Sure did, man. Put it all together, man. That's a lot. Him and that and
Rory's pissed.
Messi.
Rory is mad, man.
Yeah.
He turned down $500 million, to stand up for a PGA, and then, now they took the money and basically said sorry.
Yeah,
but
it's not good. It's not good. Well, listen, man. I hope that I'm glad I got a chance to meet you first of all and learn about your family, because now we're automatically connected just because. We're not far from each other. I got the ties from the South Lake piece. I probably might have watched you play at some point in time around there because I was living in South Lake at the time that you were.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
There, I was living right down the road.
1709. That's the main, road in South Lake. So
right up there.
we moved there in 1991. So we went to we were in Lake Highlands first, and then when my family saved up enough money, we moved out to South Lake when 1709 was just a 2-lane road. And so they were a 3A school then, and to see what it is now, it's pretty crazy.
I remember because I was living in Louisville, and there wasn't really a South Lake. We used to drive into South Lake because it had a Walmart out there.
Yeah, South Lake kicked that Walmart out back in the mid-90s. So like, get that Walmart out of here.
Right. Gotta go. Gotta let too fancy. But I ended up coaching over at Harvest Christian Academy, and so we moved that way, which closer towards Keller. So we just go all the way down. But anyway. Needless to say, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope that we can stay in touch. Sounds like you're going to be at some Cowboy games during the course of the year, too. I'll be there, probably all of them. We don't tend to miss very many home games at all, me and my wife.
Yeah. So my dad will still get me some tickets sometimes. He does have that alumni where you can go buy them direct or whatever, but I don't go as many as I used to. And I really had a cheat code when Monty Kiffin was a defensive coordinator here. My mom was a real estate agent. She sold them their house when they moved here. And I became buddy with Monty Kiffin. Nice. Like we would watch Sports Center after games and stuff. And so I would get his blue parking passes and, 40-yard line seats. And then I get to chat with him, afterwards. So I've been kind of spoiled, but I need to go to some more, especially now that I think maybe they're good.
All right. Well, you want to make a quick prediction before we get off on the 17-game season?
I'm still used to the 16-game predictions. The whole 17. I get why you did it, but okay. I think will we win the division?
Yeah, that's probably the first one. Is it us or the Eagles?
Right? But again, we're still going to make the playoffs, and so as long as you get to the dance, you got a chance. And so I felt like if we played the Eagles this year, we would have beat them in the playoffs. I wasn't really worried about that matchup. The only matchup I was worried about was the Niners and Green Bay, because Green Bay was about to get in. If Detroit loses that game, the last game, because Green Bay did what they needed to do. They needed like Detroit, whoever they were playing, to lose or win or something. And what happened, that it didn't work out for them, because I didn't want to play Green Bay, because Rodgers just for some reason has the Cowboys number, and because that guy's a bad man. And so, but I think we'll have a better chance. And I do kind of like the draft pick with what's the guy's name that we picked out of Michigan this year? Mozzie Smith. Yeah. I hope we need a guy like that. I've been screaming to sign the Dominican Sue for years, because we need a big nasty guy to plug up the middle, to control that run game, because you saw what the Niners been doing those past 2 playoff games with them. So if we don't control that line of scrimmage, I mean, it neutralizes Micah Parsons and other parts of our defense, and obviously getting a lead early on, where the defense can put their ears back and get after quarterbacks, always an advantage. But we got to stop the run first and foremost. And I'm a trenches guy, so I always think you got to build in the trenches, that I'm going to get reamed for this. That's why I like SEC football. Yes, I played in the spread offense and stuff, and my brother was a Big 12 guy, but I like the more pro style running game, low scoring games. I'm a defensive guy like you. I don't like the offense scoring 100 points, man.
Well,
Come on.
Well, okay. Well, I do appreciate it. Listen, we probably could do this. Well, we definitely can do it more. Just running out of time now.
Yeah.
I got another one coming on at 2:00. So, Zach, thank you very
Hey, I
much.
really appreciate your time. It's an honor to get to meet you.
Yeah.
And thanks again. I'm happy that you're a part of TAPS. And I saw Jason Witten. He's a part of TAPS. He was coach of the year and stuff. So I'm glad we have some former Cowboys, part of the organization that we're a part of. So that's an honor.
That's right. Well, I do appreciate it. So everyone sit tight. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we got another special guest coming on. The volleyball coach, her name is Amanda Watts. I'm looking forward to talking to her. She bribed me, man. She bribed me.
Is that who brought you the coffee?
Yeah, that is who brought me the coffee.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Anyway,
good.
So everyone sit tight. We'll be back on in about 4 minutes. Have a great day.